I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back. I don't know why she told me it's not your fault, but you don't realize that I never wonder what's the truth in your eyes. There's a light that makes me blush. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back. I can feel it somewhere inside, haunting like a drug I keep on wanting. There's a love that fits so perfect, it's hard to believe. There's a reason I can feel my heart stop beating, and the air gets tough just breathing. I'm alone, but I'm still feeling like someone's with me. It's strange, I know, but I feel like you're here with me, like chasing gold.
Welcome, everybody, to another week, an episode of Footy Rivals.
Good evening.
It is round 20 of the AFL season. My name's Ryan, and I'm joined with Justin.
Glad to be back for another episode. It has been a fairly big week in the AFL.
A lot of stuff has happened.
A lot of movement, signings, contracts, coaches getting hired. It's been busy.
Mid-season. I think this is the first time ever that a coach has been... No. I always said that, actually. This isn't the first time. It's not even the first recent time that a coach has been hired mid-season.
Oh, you're testing me here. Who am I thinking back to? I'm thinking...
Who was sacked this year?
Bolton
was hired in round 22, 2015.
Ah, okay. He was too. Wow. I thought he was an off-season hiring in the back of my mind. I don't know why I was thinking that. But anyways, it's been a huge week in AFL land. We've got plenty to talk about tonight.
We do.
It's a big agenda.
What we'll do, we'll start with our big questions.
As always.
We'll knock that out.
Yeah.
And then we'll run down our sheets.
Excellent. Which is going to be a good episode. I'm feeling the vibe tonight. I think it's going to be great because Ryan has to eat a bite out of a raw onion for getting his certainty wrong. Was it? It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
I can't remember.
Adelaide
what the game was.
let me down.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I think it was against the Bombers, maybe.
Could have been. So
They
for
let me
those,
down.
because we didn't
30
do
points up at halftime, and they lose.
Yeah,
that's a recurring theme for them.
That was not good. For those who aren't aware, because we didn't do our certainties last week, it's basically we picked a 50-50 games that are coming up in the round. We make a tip, and from there we lock that in as our certainty. If we get that certainty wrong, the lovely folks in our Discord server will choose a punishment that they deem fitting to the loss. And they have deemed that Ryan is to take a bite out of an onion, which we skipped on last week because we just didn't know what the punishment was going to be. So this week...
And I was also unwell, so...
Yes, which we're not going to make anyone who's unwell eat an onion. I feel sympathetic for you. This is the first time any one of us has gotten a certainty wrong where the other feels sympathetic, I feel, because this is just bad. Like, a few weeks ago I had to eat a chili, and if anyone was watching that, it was very unattractive and I was in a lot of pain.
But it was fun.
But it was fun.
It was fun.
I don't know if an onion is going to be that
this
fun.
This is not going to be fun.
Maybe it'll be pretty fun.
All right, so before we get to it, the South Australian clubs have done some odd things, particularly in the back half of the year.
That they have.
I want you to tell me how the South Australian clubs are currently not tanking. Give me a reason.
Really?
Give me a reason why they are not tanking.
Okay.
Because I genuinely think that is what they're doing now.
All right, that's good because it's actually funny. I haven't actually thought of it as tanking while the whole time
the selections over the last 2 weeks to me, is.
But yeah, okay, we'll get into that. But I've never thought of it as tanking. But now that you raise it, it's like, what are they doing if they're not tanking? Okay, cool. All right, I'll take that on. I want you to tell me. I heard some tidbits during the week about the Essendon Football Club, and I want to bring them into the spotlight early in the episode because they're playing really good footy.
Yep.
I thought their win over the Suns was underrated. Like, a lot of people were just like, oh, it's the Suns and you fell over the line. Who cares? Yeah. I actually thought grinding out that win while they've been on a roll and staying on a roll was big for them. I heard some comparisons during the week that they were likened to the 2016 Bulldogs. Like, they were this year's 2016 Western Bulldogs in which they just float around the mark.
Right.
You know, they're probably playing better towards the back end of the home and away season than the Bulldogs might have been, but they were likened, I think it was like 2 or 3 times during some commentary over the weekend.
Right.
I want you to tell me why they're not this year's Bulldogs and why the Essendon Football Club, playing as well as they are, can't go on if we're not talking about a flag win, a deep September run. Why can't Essendon make a deep September
okay,
run?
I can do that. I can do that. Kind of Suns, we're making the granny. Yes, well...
Maybe in
that will be
4 years. When
you've actually given me
peaks.
Something that I am happy to argue for. Every week you give me something, and I don't want to present the case that you've given to it. I want to present the opposite. I actually want to present that one, so I'm happy with that.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, you've given me a tricky one. I really should have thought of something more, but
I always give you tricky ones.
You've got good stuff. I feel like I've really set the bar low on the questions, but nonetheless, if the questions bar is low, the entertainment bar is about to be set high because you've got to take a bite out of this thing. For which for anyone that you guys can't see, probably in the shop, there is a can of Coke Zero here for Ryan's reprieve because this is just base cruelty. But if you think you can be more cruel, get on the Discord server and let us know. This is an onion I've bought from my own home, pre-peeled, ready to eat. I suppose. I don't know. Is there a better way to eat it than just?
I suppose it's just like an apple, isn't it? Do you reckon it'll taste like an apple?
I don't know. Tony Abbott's the only man in the country that has has an answer to that question.
Yeah. All right. Are you gonna give me a countdown?
All right. I'll give you. Going from 3. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Onion. It sounds unpleasant from the get-go. Yeah, ew. Barry Boy's just given us an EW in the chat, and I couldn't agree more. Ew. It sounds rank. Can you? I mean, I don't want to ask too much of you, but are you prepared to take us through what it's like?
It's disgusting.
It smells too. Yeah, get rid of it. I don't want to see you take another bite. It's
burning my nose.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like, are you near the? Is it near tears or something? Like the onion tears? I don't know. Banana Nate says, "I like onions." Maybe
I love cooked onions. That is disgusting.
I think Banana Nate might be telling you to toughen up a bit there, mate. I think that's a bit rough. Essential nutrients. Riley Burke has pointed out you're getting some essential nutrients. Way to look on the bright side, Riley. I personally would go to another source rather than an onion for my nutrients.
Ogres are like onions. I don't like ogres because apparently I don't like raw onions. Jeez, that was rough. Okay, so
we're back on track. You took it like a champ. That was good.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's.
It's not great.
No,
don't get me wrong. It's not great.
Okay.
But it's not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Anyone who has any ideas for future challenges, join the Discord or leave them in the chat, because we do need some ideas, as we're back to certainties this week. But, with all that said and done...
Well, the biggest news of the week, I think, is to come out from today.
Yeah.
Right? The big news announcement, Rhys Shaw has officially now been appointed the North Melbourne coach. And I want to ask you... There's not really a doubt in my mind that it's the right call to make. But do you think it's too early to be making the call?
No, I don't think so. I think you should back him in. I mean, they were playing some weird...
Because I have a scenario for you, which is why I asked this question, okay? Things are going pretty well for Rhys Shaw right now. He's won 4 times, he's lost 4 times, and he's only had the one big loss, which was to West Coast over the weekend.
Yeah.
If they lose the next 4 games... He's going to enter next season under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because they've made this call prematurely. I don't think it's the bad call to make.
Yeah.
I just think the timing of the call was premature.
Do you think maybe they could have just told him behind closed doors, hey, you've got the gig. We're doing some due diligence that we have to do on other people, but you've got the gig. We're just going to announce it. Before round 23 or something. I think the problem with even doing that
is there are people within clublands that leak news stories.
Yeah, that's true.
Even at the highest tier of
stories get out
clubs.
when people want them to get out. So yeah, there are leaks. I don't know about the timing. I actually, to be honest, hadn't thought about the timing and pressure that he could potentially be under or not be under given the results at the end of the year, but on the basis of is it the right call? Yeah, it's the right call.
I think it's the right call. Yeah.
They're playing good footy. It's got club morale up. He's really think back to his playing days with Sydney and Collingwood before that. He was just really.
Was Rhys Shaw at Collingwood?
I don't know.
Heath Shaw was. I don't think Rhys Shaw was.
I thought Rhys Shaw was somewhere before he was at Sydney.
I don't know. That's too.
Anyhow,
that's too early. I don't know.
Just go back to his Sydney days alone. Then he was in super intelligent football. That half back line that he would marshal with the likes of Heath Grundy and Nick Malcheski was sublime. So you can't question his footy intelligence. You can't question how he's built morale again around a group that had none. That was openly sobbing when they lost their coach mid-season. So why not? Give him the go. The timing, though, I am interested on now that you've brought that up with me, though. Yeah,
I'm not even suggesting. I 100% think that Rhys Shaw is the right man to be at the club, moving forward and into next year and for however many. I didn't see how long his contract was for, but I personally would have waited until the end of the season to publicly announce
the announcement.
Just to take that pressure off. Because the next 4 games, now that he's officially appointed, he must be feeling more pressure now because he's actually got the job before the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, right, the effect of sacking a coach on the club makes the club and the team perform better.
Clearly.
Are we going to have the same kind of effect now that it's been announced that he's definitely the man for... Is North going to play better this week? Or are we going to have the opposite effect?
Are we going to have some regression because they've got an actual head coach? Who knows? But
we have no history to go by.
I think this whole season with the coaching, with the interim coaches and the 3 that have gotten the sack and the 3 that have replaced them as interim coaches, is a total guessing game to me.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason that logically that those teams should be playing as well as they are just because they have an interim head coach. None of that has reason to.
No, I think it's we don't have enough sample size for St Kilda.
Maybe not. For
I do think that Carlton. I want to make a video on Brendan I love Brendan Bolton as a person.
I think he's quite a good person to have around a club. Yeah.
As a head coach, he's a failure.
Yeah.
And you can that's evident in just this year with regards to the game plan that they were implementing and putting players out of position and everything. Yeah. Now that David Teague hasn't really done much. He's just put players in their positions.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the team is playing better. It doesn't take a genius to work that out.
So. No, that's true.
In the same sense, Reece Shaw has done the same thing.
That's true. Brad Scott had some trouble with position-wise. I mean, we always refer to Zeeble being in forward when he should.
But he wasn't the only player in that team.
Many others. Yeah. I do want to ask you while we're on Reece Shaw. Do you think with a full pre-season of Reece Shaw coaching and Reece Shaw's game plan and all that being implemented, and maybe some handy off-season additions if they can get them, do you think North will play finals next year with Reece Shaw moving forward?
No. I think 2 years.
2 years. You want to give them a bit of time to
I think
adjust.
2 years, because at the moment they don't have a game plan. Okay, it should be noted that
it's sort of on the fly when you've got
Brad Scott's game plan is not being implemented. Now, Reece Shaw will have, will intimately know what Brad Scott's game plan is, and he will have just tinkered that to make it simpler for the players to adhere to. I think 2 years to put into place a game plan, as well as some of the younger players, because they do have a young list.
It's young.
Got a bit more experience. No, 2 years to make finals for me.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see how far they can go, or how far they can take it up to finals contenders next year. Would certainly be interesting. I mean, another bit of news. I don't know why I'm segueing into this from Reece Shaw. Maybe it's because it's his old teammate. Jared McVeigh, is he officially hung up the boots? Has he?
He has,
yeah,
yes.
He has. And he is an absolute legend of the Sydney Football Club and the AFL. I just want to take a moment to just recognise how good of a player Jared McVeigh was over his time with the Sydney Swans.
324 matches played, only one behind Jude Bolton.
Yes.
He sits third on the Swans all-time games played list. And over the last decade, he's probably been the best user of the ball off the half-back line, if not just for the Swans,
phenomenal.
In almost the competition as
Absolutely agree
He's
with
the
you
candy-selling master as well.
Yeah, I remember watching...
If ever you wanted a bloke in your street to purchase a white van and sell some candy to some kids, it'd be McVeigh, right?
Yeah, you just get the guy to do it.
Yeah, he's the best guy around to do it.
I do remember, I don't know if he holds the record for this for the AFL or for this is just a Sydney Swans record, but I know he holds a record for one of those two organisations for the most disposals in a quarter. I have a feeling it's the AFL, but I didn't get time to check this. I remember watching it. It was like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, and he got like 21 disposals in a single quarter. It was a freak effort, and it was like when he was at the peak of his powers.
Yeah, right.
And when I saw that he was hanging it up today, that was all I could think of was that time at the peak of his powers. He was huge for the Swans. Absolutely huge. Yeah. John Longmire was fighting back tears, I think, wasn't he? Yeah. So,
well, McVeigh, I mean, I know that he kind of slowed down over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But he was still an integral part of that team.
Absolutely. He could still play today at full fitness.
If his body allowed him,
Yeah, if his body allowed him, he could still play and still contribute.
He was saying that he was, at the start of the year, he was still thinking of playing next year if his form warranted it.
Yeah.
And I would think that in the games that he did play this year, his form warranted playing another year.
Yeah.
He just wasn't able to stay on the park, unfortunately. But definitely McVeigh. There was also another retirement, which was, I want to say from the top of my head, Jamie McMillan from North Melbourne.
I think it was.
I
think it was. North's full of little unsung heroes that don't get talked about enough. Guys like McMillan, or even, I think he's in the outs this week, and this may be why I'm thinking of him, is Atley. And guys like that just probably don't get talked about enough for how much of a reputation they built inside their own club. So yeah, if it is McMillan, which I'm fairly certain it is,
I think it is, yeah.
Then yeah, also very worthy of praise for a very good career in football.
I want to ask you a question because it's your club.
God, this can't be good. Okay, all right.
What is happening down the road at I don't want to say Docklands because that's in Melbourne, but what's happening in Coburn?
I don't know what they're doing.
So
there. Shane Kirsten's not there anymore.
Shane Kirsten has exited immediately for officially because he doesn't like the way that the club's managing his injury.
Yeah.
And the same could be said with Harley Bennell. In fact, both of their managers...
is Colin Young, isn't it? And he came out and had a dig at the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unofficially, the story with Shane Kirsten is that last year when Lachie Neale was looking to walk to the Brisbane Lions, apparently, because they lost their list manager during the trade period, right?
And then their football boss wasn't allowed to hire the list manager that he wanted, so...
Yeah.
And
based on the feedback that Ross Lyon gave to Steve Rossage, who was acting as list manager at the time, he basically said that there was a bit of a rift between Shane Kirsten and Lachie Neale, which has been denied by both parties.
Yeah.
And basically, Steve Rossage said to Lachie Neale, will you stay if we cut Shane Kirsten? We'll get rid of him if you stay. Which then obviously Russ, came through Lyon to say to Kirsten later on down the track, and there's been a huge rift between Lyon and Kirsten, and then Kirsten's walked out. What is happening at this club over the last few years has been blowing my mind.
It's mistake after mistake.
It started with the sexual assault stuff from Ross Lyon, and it's just the administration from this club seems to be on a downward spiral since then.
One thing that I am worried about is even if there was a rift between Kirsten and Neale, what does it say to your playing group? When a guy wants out,
dump a player.
A guy already wants out, and you go to him and go, "Hey, we'll get rid of this guy to pay you." And what does that say to the rest of your playing group? Like, if you're not Nat Fyfe, you've got to be sitting among that playing group, going like, "Well."
The rift was supposedly the rift supposedly came from because there are two factions of players at the club. You've got the ultra elite professionals in Fyfe, was Neale, Mundy, so on and so forth, Walters, and then you've got the other mob, Matera, Kirsten,
your fringe
probably
guys.
Blakely at the time as well. And so there was just a bit of a divide, and that's what caused because I think Neale was he on record in saying that he just wanted to be at a more professional club or something like that?
I think he did say something like that.
Which
and
was
then a lot of it was, I want to get out of...
contrast to, that group of players sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, the whole thing has left a bit of a sour taste. Even though, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Losing Shane Kirsten is not the worst thing that happens to a football
absolutely
club.
Not.
Talent-wise. But the culture of the club
it's bringing
dire straits. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine who also barracks for the Dockers about this, and we came to the sort of agreement that the only time the culture's ever been good at Fremantle, it was driven by the players.
Yeah.
It's never been driven by the front office. It was driven by Matthew Pavlich being the ultimate captain and a bunch of players for about a 4-year stretch that all were just pretty good mates who got on.
Yeah.
It never came from the top down.
No.
And if you look through today's top 6, all 6 are driving a good culture from the top down. From Collingwood, Richmond, GWS, West Coast, all of these clubs from the top down have been quite sound. Fremantle has had leaks. They've had bad decisions made.
I personally think, and I've been of the belief for a while, and this will probably make it a bit emotional, but I do genuinely think that Fremantle have been the worst run club in the competition.
I agree with you.
Since they came into the competition. They
haven't had a good
administration.
Yeah. This is totally what angers fans.
It should be noted, though, there is some good news to come out of Freo this week. Connor Blakely signs for 3 years, I think, and Peter Bell signs on for 2 years, which suggests that Steve Rossage is gone. Because they have a rift between themselves.
Yeah, and that's reported. They denied that, but that I can see Peter Bell having come into this club and actually wanting to move it forward in a positive way, and he's just meeting roadblock after roadblock from people in higher offices that maybe are Steve Rossich, maybe not. Yeah. I don't know. But, it's good to see them sign on. It's a little bit of morale, but at the same time, like, even, like, you know, they're looking at trying to drag someone like Tim Kelly in. And Tim Kelly, who's there saying, I'm happy at Geelong, it's a money factor. To me, those comments sounded like, I kind of like Geelong. I want to get paid. West Coast can't pay me. I don't want to be at Fremantle. That's kind of what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't blame you. Like, I can't sit there and say, you should come to our club because we're all fantastic.
He's only included Fremantle in discussions to ramp up his price more.
It absolutely could be happening.
Which is fair enough to him.
Yeah.
As Tim Kelly said, and I have absolutely no problems with him saying this. He's come into the league at a later date.
Yeah.
His time in the league is finite. So he wants to make the most of it as he can.
Make hay while the sun shines,
All the power to him.
Absolutely agree with you.
Does that mean it's going to suck if West Coast can't? I still think West Coast is in a relatively good position to get him.
Yeah, if they can up that offer a bit more, I guess. I don't know actually if there is an official.
It came out last week that Gaff's contract, which I think was made as a clause because of the potential to get Tim Kelly and the potential to get a premiership this year.
Yeah.
His contract is 2 years with the ability to extend to 6.
Yeah, okay.
But he could be gone in 2 years' time. So if West Coast get the premiership this year, or if they land Tim Kelly's contract could be backloaded. Yeah. Which then
makes it viable.
Cap space has got no problems.
Yeah.
And Gaff goes out at the end of next year.
If a footy club needs a player or wants a player, they find a way to get it done. It rarely ever does it just fall through because no one has enough money. So yeah, Fremantle, I really don't know. Like I'll ask you this: do you think, given the success of interim coaches, and do you think, given the heat around Ross Lyon, Fremantle's reported to only not have moved on him for having to pay a $1 million bill to him in a year where he's not coaching, if they should sack him? Do you think they should bite the bullet, or do you think they should continue with Ross Lyon? Do you think they should just get it done? I think
Ross Lyon still gets 1 year.
I think he still will, but what are your thoughts?
I think he should still have 1 year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
This year was if this year's derailing doesn't happen and Freo is still winning a relative amount of games, this talk would be...
We give them their injuries as well. Their injuries are...
We're only talking about Fremantle in such a negative light at the moment because of the injuries to the club that have meant that they haven't been winning.
Into a terrible
if they were still winning and they were still making finals, this negative atmosphere around Freo is gone.
It in fact would be completely reversed, in which case things might be a little more smooth sailing.
And that's why I say give him another... Yeah, he's still got a year.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy for him to see the contract out.
I also I agree with you on that one. Another person, speaking of deals and new deals for Blakely and Peter Bell, going over east now to Sydney, Greater Western Sydney actually. Tim Taranto has signed up. He's phenomenal. He's an absolute star.
It's a very interesting move to me because I feel like if he didn't re-sign early... and he was getting to the end of his contract because he added another 2 years
I think 2 years
onto it.
Yeah.
So he was coming out of contract, I think, at the end of next year. If he waited, because his form is definitely on the way up, and next year it will only be better.
Yeah, I would agree.
How much has he cost himself by signing early?
Ooh, maybe. I mean, for GWS, it's a masterstroke because it helps them pay 100%. Kelly and Canelio.
And that's why they would have done it.
Kelly's already signed, has he? He's already...
That's a good question.
Maybe.
I need to think about that, actually.
Something in my brain tells me that happened a few weeks ago. Regardless of if he signed already or not, though, it helps them pay them while keeping Taranto. Maybe Tim Taranto's just thinking, hey, I've got plenty of this ahead of me. I can be fine with this for now.
He was saying during the week that he was thinking during the week sort of thing... He was talking to a mate and he just goes, I love this club. Why would I want to leave? Let's just sign it up. Let's get it done.
And why would you? Okay, the membership is not there. They're a new club. They're based in Greater Western Sydney, whatever. They play really good footy when they're on.
Yeah.
Like, really good footy, and he's a huge part of it. Why would you want to change that? And clearly their program's got the best out of him. Maybe at a different program, Tim Taranto is not the player that he is at Greater Western Sydney. Who knows? I did want to ask you about the Giants and Richmond. I wanted to compare the two and the injuries they've had that have piled up on them over the season and the absolute hurdles they've faced. Out of the two, who do you think is more resilient and who do you think has done better to be where they are right now?
GWS.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say Richmond.
No, Richmond have had injuries. They've lost Alex Rance, but they still had brilliant defenders in Asprey and Grimes.
Holding down the fort.
And they've always been brilliant defenders.
Yeah.
Let's not make the mistake of that. And they've lost Cochin at various stages throughout the year. But, Rewalt went down, but they still had... their depth hasn't been as tested as what GWS's has been.
Perhaps not.
And GWS are, one game behind them for the year?
I think it's only one.
Yeah. So I would say that that's clearly sliding in favour of GWS.
The only reason I thought of Richmond would be the kids that have come through that we expected nothing from have been brilliant, which to me signifies the resilience that we're talking about.
Yeah, but in saying that, the individual brilliance of those kids have helped Richmond win.
Yeah.
As opposed to GWS's team structures that anyone can come in and out.
That's a good point. It may be a bit more of an individual standout rather than team resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, both playing excellent footy.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Excellent footy.
Well, we probably wrote GWS off about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They've had 2 wins in a row and they're still...
I totally wrote them off.
They're still in chance for the top 4.
Yeah, I thought they were gone. When they lost that game to Richmond, who, funnily enough, is the other team we're talking about, I thought they were gone. I thought they were just totally done. And they've turned it around with 2 really good wins. We'd
be saying that about Collingwood now, and that's another team... Their injuries, man.
Oh, that's a crisis. It's not even an injury list. That's a total crisis.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, but a lot of those injuries are impact injuries and stuff. But over the last 2-3 weeks, it's been nothing but soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
So you'd have to wonder during the bye, did Collingwood load up on training during the bye, and now it's backfired?
Potentially.
That's the only thing that it looks like it can be, because their players are breaking down in soft tissue injuries.
I mean, who were the 2 recent ones on the way? It was DeGoey and Quainer, I want to say.
No, Quainer, yes.
Yeah, DeGoey and Quainer. Look, but potentially. I don't know. I didn't really look into that too much, but I do look at their injury list every week and scroll down. It takes an extra scroll to get through their list than the next team.
There was a post on... maybe Fox Sports or maybe Reddit, I'm not sure, that had a look at Collingwood's injury list versus Gold Coast Best 22.
That's so sad. They would win.
That is
the
how
Collingwood
much
injury list would
that
win.
is how much Collingwood is missing out of their team.
Wow.
Right.
And that's how good they'd be at full tilt.
Huge.
I mean, and it's...
And this is wrecked. Collingwood can't come back from this.
I mean, it's super sad too, because next year those guys might come in, but they might not be the same team. Who knows? The window can open and close so quickly.
Actually, in saying that, the window can open and close so quickly. Alex Rance, if he gets the green light to go, do you back him in?
Well, who would they drop if they brought him in? Who would they get rid of? That's the question that I would ask. Because if it's someone that they don't care about...
But it's Alex Rance.
I think they bring him in.
Right.
I think they bring him in regardless of who it matters who they drop. But... I don't know. You miss a whole season, you come back, play finals D. I don't know. I feel like this is where Richmond have comfort. You mentioned Grimes and Asprey before. Those guys are still going to be there even if Rance comes in. So is it really going to mess with them too much?
As Rance said, right, if he comes back in and then goes down mid-finals,
does that misses another year?
Does that? Well, not only that, but does that destroy the morale of the Richmond team and cost them a premiership?
I don't think so. I disagree with that. I think
this is Rance's own thinking.
Yeah.
So these are the things that he's got to weigh up. If he plays and if he goes down, how does that affect Richmond next year?
Yeah.
And how does that affect them in the final series this year? Because they're just getting their their premier defender back, lovable bloke and everything, and he goes down straight away. How does it affect them mentally?
Well, it comes down to how mentally strong they are. It's glass half empty, glass half full. You can either look at it and go, hey, we went a full year without Rance, with Grimes and Asprey back there, and we still finished probably in the top 4, and maybe in the top 4. And we were still flag favourites at the very end of the season, which they are at the moment. That's good. Either that or they can take no Rance, we're doomed, this sucks. But I don't know. Richmond strike me as a mentally tough team.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that they don't think that they could win without Rance.
Yeah.
I think it's the mental sadness, I suppose, that Rance has gone down. He's going to miss out despite being so close.
Yeah.
Like, it can. The morale of a team, for sometimes stupid reasons, can just break.
It's a really tricky situation.
Rance coming in is a super high.
Yeah.
And then after that super high, he goes down.
Yeah.
Well, that super high's got to go somewhere.
It's really tricky. Personally, like, if you're Richmond and you wanted to make the tough call, you just don't bring him in, because your back six is still fantastic.
I think, but he's a premiership player.
So good.
He has that premiership.
Yeah.
Right. And Richmond are probably going to at least challenge next year.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't risk him.
No, neither would I, but how do you make that call? How do you tell Alex Rance, hey, you can't play in our final series, even though he's been deemed potentially fit?
You say that because he's a team man. The team balance right now is good.
Yeah.
It's the best in the league.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. And I think he would understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough. It's so tough of a call to make, but you might be right. Him being such a team man may get them through.
We are about to move into footy tips, Docker fan.
We're getting there. I did, quickly before we do.
Yeah.
The Dogs and Freo played each other on the weekend, and two of the standouts were...
Sure, they played each other.
Yeah, well, the Dogs played and Freo rocked up.
Right.
Freo had 22 guys out there that did some running.
Which is how.
Two of the standouts were Andrew Brayshaw and Aaron Norton. They went in the same draft, and they went in the top 10 of that draft.
Yeah.
I want to take you through the top 10 of this draft real quick, and I want you to tell me, who would be your top.
Bearing in mind, this draft class is, 2 years old?
2 years in. So this is of their first 2 years.
It's still early days, yeah.
Of their first 2 years, who has impressed you the most? Because there's some really impressive picks in there. So Cam Rayner, Andrew Brayshaw, Paddy Dow, Luke Davies-Uniacke, Adam Chera, Jaden Stevenson, Hunter Clark, Nick Caulfield, Aaron Norton, and Lockie O'Brien.
Right.
So
5 of those are decent.
5 of those are decent. Yeah, so... With that, who of those guys has impressed you the most? Like, in that draft, who do you see having the brightest future moving forward of those 10 players?
Oh, why are you doing this to me?
I was really interested.
Give us a list of players. Okay. So Rayner, very good. He's had a bit of a down year, but that normally happens after winning a Rising Star, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I do think that he can be of good quality, like Charlie Cameron is and stuff at the moment. Yeah. So he's definitely one. This year, not so impressive. Last year, very impressive. Brayshaw, I do think is a midfielder of the future. Same with Chera. Dow is up and down.
Yeah. Haven't seen enough of the good.
Yeah, he's young. He's got question marks on him. LDU, no, for me. Stevenson... is probably the best of the draft class so far.
I wanted to say that too. I really wanted to say that too.
I don't think anyone, any 18-year-old rookie, besides maybe Joel Selwood, has come into a team that has been challenging for a flag. Like, Stevenson goes down, Collingwood have turned to shit.
Yeah, they look very average up front. Yeah, it's a good point. I wanted to say Stevenson... But if you're telling me right now, if I had to redo it and pick one, I'd probably pick Norton for the fact that he's a key position player and he's been so good there. Maybe. But then I watched Brayshaw on the weekend. He's also been
inconsistent. So. No, Stevenson is the top pick for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's my 2017 draft experiment that had me pondering between Brayshaw and Norton. Should we move into the games?
We should, yeah. First game, Friday night game. North Melbourne take on Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. Right, North Melbourne bring in Kane Turner and Scott Thompson comes back into the team after
He's
the ball
back.
buster.
Yeah.
Out goes Jed Anderson and Sean Atley. And for Hawthorn, Tim O'Brien comes in for Jonathan Segler.
No, I mean, outside of Thompson coming back, no notable massive changes for each side. I think
not really.
Segler going very intriguing game. Very intriguing game. Both sides want to keep some sort of finals hope alive. I mean,
I think
North's
Hawthorn's... I don't think North can get to the finals.
No, North's pretty well done.
Hawthorn are probably the only team, I think, from outside the 8 that can make the finals.
In which case they would need to put
percentage.
in which case they would need to put a pretty good showing together this game. Is it? Did you say it was in Tasmania? Is it?
No, it's Marvel Stadium.
No, it's Marvel. Okay, they really should have had this in Tasmania.
Yeah. Hawthorn need to win it. However, I think North Melbourne get up, and I'm locking it in as my certainty.
Oh, that's a big certainty. Okay, all right. So that's going to be Ryan's certainty.
Don't let me down, North. You've just signed a new coach. Come on.
So, I'm actually going to go with the Hawks because I think they're ready to actually play some good footy before they fail us and not make the 8. I don't know where I get that logic from, but I just think that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to back Hawthorn in. Right. They
just come off of a pretty demoralising loss to the Lions,
Brisbane.
I think.
Yeah, which they should have won because they're at home.
In saying that, North
they
Melbourne
probably
did the
feel
same.
like they should have won, but Brisbane's a really good side.
But I think this is North Melbourne. They're coming off of their biggest loss since Reece Shaw.
Yeah.
I think they are more mentally tough to bounce back than what Hawthorn are.
Potentially.
Based on this year, this year's
Yeah. Hawks for me, North for you. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
We're on to our first Saturday game. I didn't actually write down the places and times. So this is
the times are the same every week.
Right, we go. Anyways,
it's the first Saturday game. Essendon take on Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium.
And there's some massive ins for the Dons. Fantasia and McKenna both come back in.
Yes.
Laverde and McNeese go out.
All right, yep.
And then Port Adelaide has done what South Australian clubs tend to do. They bring back Dixon after dropping him for 1 week, which seemed pointless.
They really could have used him last week for their atrocious
They kicked 55
forward entries.
points. Maybe they could have used some more points. Laddams comes back and
because he kicks
Marshall. Yeah, you got it.
I know.
Laddams is in and Marshall is in as well. Out goes Howard, Garner, and Scott Lysett. Why are you dropping him?
Lysett,
you've screwed my fantasy side over here. And B, why?
Lysett has had a brilliant year.
Absolutely.
The only reason they're
it's his
dropping
best year of his career.
The only reason they're dropping him is so that Ryder doesn't have to play forward anymore because he sucks as a forward. But guess what? His body cannot take the rigours of playing in the ruck anymore. He keeps going down with Achilles injuries. And Lysett's a better ruckman than he is now.
If you're dropping Scott Lysett to try and find a role for Paddy Ryder, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I don't understand what Port Adelaide are doing. So not Port Adelaide have come out this week and said it's finals or it's been a failure of a year. So let's mess the fuck out of their team.
Their CEO called himself a Norwood flog, and it's like, what's going on at this club? What's going on at the Power?
There's been some commentary. I've been watching some AFL 360 and stuff throughout the week. I finally got my KO subscription.
Excellent.
And basically, what they were saying, and I tend to agree. Everyone from this club is saying it's my fault. It's my fault. I put my hand, it's my fault. Stop telling us it's your fault and just get the job done.
Get on with it.
Tell us what's wrong instead of making stupid list decisions week in and week. If you're going to drop Charlie Dixon, drop him for more than 1 week. If you're wanting to send a message or get him back into form. Because 1 week does not give you form.
No, not at all. What I don't get is the bar they set.
I'm actually getting really worked up about Port Adelaide.
Yeah, well, wait till we get to Adelaide. I'm really worked up about both of them, and I don't know why, because I don't care about either of them. I'm not invested emotionally in either of them. But
no, but they're
it frustrates me to see.
I want you to tell me why they're not tanking.
Actually, I'll save this for that. I'll save this point for that. For now, I'm gonna back in Essendon by a landslide. I think their win was really underrated. Up at the Gold Coast to come back on the road while you're on a roll and you probably get a game that if you drop it, you're kind of like, okay, we were on a roll. Maybe we drop one. Maybe we recover. They came back, stormed back in.
They fought hard, yeah.
They got the win in the end.
Their
Stringer
last 4
kicked a
games,
ridiculous
they've won
goal.
from behind as well.
Yeah.
What's interesting, over the last 4 games that they've played, they've only been in the lead for 44% of the time.
Wow, really? And they've won all 4.
Yeah.
Jeez. So they're on a 4-game win streak at the moment. So, and Port Adelaide, I just feel last week's loss signified that they're not going to be around the mark.
And they should have won that.
And it's a shame because it was 1 point. But
their midfield, though, is unquestionably out of sorts. When they have no tools in the front line, but they just bomb it in the last quarter and let GWS intercept. Himmelberg and Davis saved the Giants.
Yeah.
Something chronic.
Yeah. Which has been
just
done
because
before.
Port Adelaide were stupid in their boys. They're trying to lose games.
I think the Crows in power are just trying to stem
wasted
the bleed
Boak's
from
best
their
season. You're not actually wrong there.
Yeah,
Joel.
that's a good point, Joel. Essendon's going to win this game.
I'll tell you what,
and I think by a fair margin.
That confuses me a bit, right? Specifically with the Lysette Ryder thing, right? Pre-bye, Port Adelaide are in the 8. They're looking pretty good. They're looking like they're going to be playing finals.
Yep.
Both ruckmen are playing. Apparently, both of these ruckmen don't know how to play in the same team together. But when they are in the same team together, they actually play well. It just adds structure to the team. Put Dixon back in the forward line so you get that proper forward tall, who is not Ryder, that does not know how to play that position anymore. Have them both play together. Make the list taller, because the way that you want to have your forward entries is beyond stupid. So have the list taller so it can compete in the air more. I just don't understand. It's basic footy.
I'm going Essendon. I'm putting my certainty on Essendon because I'm so sick
that's
of
that's an easy certainty.
Certainty is going straight on them.
I'm getting angry.
We're both fired up.
Getting worked up.
Clubs that aren't even in our state, just
next game. Let's move on.
Yeah,
I'm tired of talking about that team. GWS takes on the Sydney Swans at Giants Stadium. Brett Deledio comes back in. I'm happy for that. And so does Jake Stein. Out goes Daniel Lloyd and Sam Taylor. And for Brisbane, finally... Sydney. Finally comes back in Dan Manzul, James Rose, Kieran Jack and Oliver Florent. And out goes Colin O'Riordan, who's injured. I thought he played a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Dane Rampy is also injured, which is a big out.
Really hurts them.
Lewis Melican, and Riley Stoddart,
So would Rampy have taken Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah. GWS is going to win this game now.
It's played at Giants State. I would have said.
I would have picked GWS anyway, but the Swans would have been a decent chance. I'm a really big Ollie Florent fan for some reason.
I love him. Yeah.
I really like him. So
he does the absurd.
Yeah.
He does things that he shouldn't do, but it works.
I really like that tier of guys they have where it's like Florent, Hayward, and then maybe a few other guys are in amongst that group they've got that are really good young kids. So still, they're going to lose this game because Jeremy Cameron hopefully is going to kick a lot of goals for my fantasy team.
He's, I think, 11 goals clear in front of the corner.
Yeah,
he's got it.
Yeah, he's got his first. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Rampy does go out because it probably actually would have been quite an interesting matchup. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Rampy's had a down year this year, though.
Yeah, probably.
Like statistically, he hasn't dropped off.
Yeah,
but when I watch games that he's playing and everything, it just feels like he's starting to drop off.
Yeah,
maybe it's a 1 year thing because the pressure up the ground isn't helping him. Which may fix itself next year. It's hard to say. But this year, I just feel like it hasn't been a great year. How many times have we spoken about Dan Rampy doing stupid stuff in the back line?
Climbing the post was the pinnacle of it.
Yeah. He called the umpire a little girl or something as well. Yeah, he's just done some weird things this year.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. GWS for me. And for you, I'm guessing.
GWS for me as well. The next game has a lot of changes.
Yeah, thank God. We're talking about Freo and the Cats, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Who take each other on at Optus Stadium on Saturday. In for Freo, Ethan Hughes, Mitch Crowden, Bailey Banfield, Sam Switkowski, and Jason Carter becomes the first academy product for Freo to make his debut.
Yep.
Out, goes Bewley omitted, Luke Ryan injured, Rory Lobb injured, Nathan Wilson injured, Hayden Ballantyne omitted. For the Cats, Tui and Rowan come in, both bona fide league players. And out goes Parsons and Taylor, who they've managed Harry Taylor. The Cats aren't worried about this game.
It must be said, okay, the Cats are playing 2 back-to-back interstate games, right? They've actually flown... So they played the Swans last week in Sydney.
Yeah.
And they flew from Sydney directly to Perth.
Yeah.
Before I saw the team changes... I was actually backing Fremantle in to beat Geelong.
Really?
Just because Geelong historically don't play well interstate. Doing 2 back-to-back ones, I just feel like they'd be a bit lethargic in this game. But then I saw the outs. Luke Ryan, Nathan Wilson, Rory Lobb.
To be fair, I'm gonna put this out there. Nathan Wilson has sucked the last few weeks.
Yeah, but
his effort's been really poor.
His drive out of the back line, even though it hasn't been directed well,
no,
is still super important.
By all means, I would rather have him in the side than not. But you know what? I was watching him on the weekend. I was super frustrated with what he was putting forward. I think he's been, to be fair, dealing with a niggling injury for some time. I think he's been playing through it, so that's maybe why. I'm happy to see Jason Carter get his debut. Like, he's been playing pretty well at the waffle level. And, you know, why not give a kid a chance at this point? You may as well give up on the finals and just give Kid a run, see what he's got. Ethan Hughes should never have been out of the side. I like him. Crowden got dropped for Stephen Hill a few weeks back, which baffled me. Banfield couldn't make it into the side last week despite getting 32 touches, 12 tackles, 2 goals in the waffle. They brought in Hayden Ballantyne, who had got 2 goals in about 4 weeks at the waffle.
Well, we wanted Crowden to come in for Ballantyne last week.
Yeah, if you were going to get rid of Switkowski like they did, bring in Crowden, not Ballantyne. Or bring in, they brought in Schultz, and Schultz was okay, so yeah, the Cats are going to win this game. I'm tipping Geelong. And Fremantle continue to baffle me, frustrate me, and break my heart. Let's move on to the next South Australian team. Take us through. Take us through.
That's not.
Oh, that's not. No,
it's Melbourne versus Richmond. First Saturday night game at the MCG. Braden Pruce comes in for Melbourne along with Jake Melksham, Jay Kennedy Harris, and Kyle Dunkley. I really rate Jay Kennedy Harris.
Yeah, so like him. Yeah, I like
Out
him.
goes Alex Neil-Bullen, Josh Wagner, Neville Jetta, and Tim Smith. In comes for Richmond, Dan Butler and Josh Caddy. Finally makes his return.
See Caddy back.
But out goes Sydney Stack and Trent Cotchin.
Yeah, sad for Stack.
Big ins for Richmond, also big outs.
Yeah, Caddy I'm super excited about because they've been saying for weeks that he's actually ready to play AFL footy and he's in good enough form, but we're trialling him in a new role and we want to give him enough time.
In defence, right?
Yeah, defence. Yeah. So I hope he comes in and plays a defensive role, maybe sort of takes over from whatever Stack was doing. I don't know. Stack was sort of playing in the middle, wasn't he?
He was all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't
think
he had a set position.
Which Caddy can do, I think. Yeah. So if you're going to get Caddy to do that, that's fine.
Melbourne confused me.
Melbourne, did they drop Neil Bullen or is he injured? I can't remember. I think he might be injured.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Neville Jetta is a big out.
It's big, yeah.
And Jay Kennedy Harris is obviously coming in for him because they play similar position.
Yeah, Melksham getting back in helps.
He played against West Coast, was dropped. He was omitted. He wasn't injured. Now they've brought him back in. I don't understand why because he only came in for that one game against West Coast.
Yeah.
If you're going to play a player,
give him some
keep him in the team. Because you can't just go from VFL level play style
to AFL 1 week ban.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's a much faster and more intense game.
Yeah.
If you want him to get good at it, keep him in the team. Or if you just want him to develop, keep him in the VFL. Stop going in and out and in and out. It does players no good.
And if we're speaking of Melbourne and inconsistency at selection, we call out Wagner's name, either that or his brothers, every week. How is this guy supposed to find any form? Come on, man. I don't get it. good to see Milksham back for him, but I like the Tigers in this game by
Richmond,
a big margin.
Big margin. Big margin.
Yeah.
Percentage boosting margin to catch West Coast and Brisbane.
The more they win, the more I'm like, because like I think it was like 4 weeks ago, I just called them out and I was like, whatever, I'm on Richmond for the flag because Freo suck at the moment and I'm done with them. And the more they win, the more I'm kind of like, hey, I called it. I liked it. So I'm going to own it now. I was tentatively on it. Now I'm owning it. They're going to win the flag. That's my big call. Anyways, we move on to
Adelaide Oval,
where we've got the Crows and Saints Saturday night. Take us through the Crows. I want you to take us through the Crows because you're getting really fired up about Port Adelaide. You've got to have more fire for Crows.
Okay, for the Crows. In comes Bryce Gibbs after a long layoff for unquestionable reasons.
Yeah.
Darcy Fogarty, who we were begging to come back into the team last week.
Coming from the wrong bloke. But...
Eddie Betts, surprise, was dropped for absolutely no reason last week.
One
or
week,
kicks
dominates
4 goals.
the Sandful, comes
Of course
back.
he's going to dominate the Sandful. It's
he's
the Sandful.
He's Eddie Betts, man.
And Richard Douglas comes back into the team, which is some much-needed experience around the ball.
Yeah.
So Darcy Fogarty comes in for Josh Jenkins. Why is Tex still playing? Darcy Fogarty is a replacement for Tex Walker.
It's so simple. It's so simple, but it's like, it's just, we can't drop the captain, captain.
I'm not done. Out goes Patrick Wilson, which is fine. I don't mind
Yeah.
it. Paul Seedsman, why is he gone? He's one of the best halfback drive. And Tyson Stengel goes out as well.
Hey.
What? St Kilda bring in Josh Battle and out goes Black Acres. Adelaide!
The sheet's been ripped early. It's done.
I straight up don't understand.
What I don't get is the 2 kids that they brought in, like 2 of the kids they brought in to replace, I think it was Betts and whoever else they dropped last week. Maybe it was Gibbs.
Gibbs hasn't played for a few rounds.
Oh, okay. So whoever they dropped last... Greenwood hasn't come back in. So Hugh Greenwood's still out. Stengel and Wilson just went straight out after 1 week. It was always going to happen.
It should be noted that
don't screw with your team, and B, don't screw with their progression.
Yeah, it should be noted that Adelaide's outs, none of them are injured. They're all omissions.
Yeah. 4 omissions. I'm happy to see Douglas back, but outside of that, the Fogarty for Jenkins one, man. Why is Tex in the team? Like, come on, honestly. I know you just asked that question yourself, and now I'm asking it of you, but like, what reason? Like, what did he do over the weekend? I didn't actually catch Adelaide's game.
He kicked 3 goals in the first half.
Okay.
Which was fine. That's when Adelaide were kind of up and about.
Yeah. Well, they're up and about when he's up and about.
But beyond that, like, even though he kicked 3 goals in the first half, none of those were set shots. They were off the ball goals, right? Off the ground goals. He can't mark the ball anymore.
No.
His mobility is gone. His turning circle is that of a truck.
He's just really bad.
Fogarty should be playing for Tex Walker. And if the only reason that you're not dropping Tex Walker is because he's captain, he needs to be stripped of the captaincy. Because he's a liability in the team.
He can't be the captain next year. Do you think he'll be the captain next year?
I hope not.
I don't think they can make him the captain next year.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I do genuinely feel bad for dumping shit on Tex Walker every week. I genuinely do. But if he wasn't the captain and he was allowed to go back to the VFL and just not necessarily recapture form, but just get some confidence back in his game.
Dominate an opponent.
He would come back in and make the side better. But because he can't be allowed that, and because he's constantly carrying the weight of this club on his shoulders, seemingly alone, because I know that Rory Sloane is co-captain, but I've never thought of him as captain for this club. It's always... I just think captain of Adelaide, Tex Walker. Rory Sloane doesn't even enter my mind.
When I look at them on the field, who is their leaders? I mean, like Brad Crouch leads by example with good play at the moment.
I think Rory Laird should be given a go next.
Probably Rory Laird. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a defender. Maybe Talia.
No, I think Talia's too old.
Yeah, potentially. No, Talia, he'd only be like 25, 26 years old. He's quite young. I remember his debut season was like 2013 or something like that.
No.
Surely.
No.
Someone look it up for us.
I can
Joel,
100%
tell us how old
because in
Daniel
2014 he got All Australian over Eric McKenzie, and I'm very salty about that.
Oh man, see, I just have this memory of him like
Talia debuted in 2011.
Oh, okay, there you go. All
okay,
right.
so he'd be what, about 26, 27, something like that.
Yeah,
so he's the right age for captaincy, but I don't see him as...
No, maybe not.
I don't
see him as a captain.
No, I don't see him as... I think Rory Laird would be a good captain for them.
Yeah.
Rory Sloane is too quiet on field, and to be perfectly honest, I don't think he's a great on-field leader.
Yeah.
I thought Tex was a great on-field leader during the grand final year.
Yeah, he was huge. Yeah.
But since then... I think his mental capacity has kind of gone.
About someone like Tom Lynch.
In favour. Oh,
too old, maybe? I don't know.
No, I don't think he's too old, but I just don't... I feel like a captain should be the general on-field.
Yeah.
And I think the only person on Adelaide's list, the only person...
Yeah.
I don't even think there's anyone coming through right now that could even be questioned for this, would be Rory Laird.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Or
I don't see anyone else.
Who's the other halfback flanker for them?
Smithers.
Brody Smith. Brody Smith.
Okay, yeah.
I think Brody Smith could also be a captain of that club as well.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
But to be fair, being from West Coast and West Coast philosophy kind of thing to have backline captains, it makes sense to me that a backline player should be a captain leader. That's
always kind of made sense to me, even coming from Fremantle that has... I don't think they've ever had a backline captain, so it still makes sense to me.
Because you can see the
Tom
play,
Harley, Nick Maxwell...
You see the play coming down, you can organise players as you see, and it just makes
Luke
sense
Hodge,
to me.
when he was captain at Hawthorn, was kind of backline. I'm going to go for the Saints in this game because I don't want the Crows to win.
Saints for me.
I don't want them to win. I'm sorry, Joel, but I just don't want your team to win because they're pissing me off.
Yeah.
Saints for mine. Which I believe leads us into Sunday's games. Do you want to take us through the almighty amount of changes at the Pies and Suns? Because I didn't actually get to writing the Suns down because I probably ran out of ink.
It should be noted. I should say that's not the only thing, Joel. When you actually, and this is why I feel bad for dumping on Tex, because he does have the weight of the world on him, right?
Yeah.
Have a look at what's happened in Tex's life over the last 5 years. He's lost his mentor in Dean Bailey. He's lost his mentor in Phil Walsh. His wife had a stillborn last year.
Yeah.
And there was another thing that had happened the year before that I can't think of what it was though. He got solely blamed for the whole power stance thing, which I still applaud him. It didn't work for one, and I wouldn't even say it didn't work.
Yeah.
In the first half of the grand final, Adelaide were good.
Prior to the grand final, when they got smashed while doing it, we all loved it, didn't we? I was a big fan of it. I thought it was cool.
I still think it's great, and I still think they should be doing it now.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a nice thing to bring a group together.
The club dumped that on him.
Yeah.
Which I thought was wrong to do.
Yeah.
So he is a player that has been dumped on. All of Adelaide's woes is apparently Tex Walker's fault.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him for that. I don't blame him for Adelaide Crows.
Yeah.
But I do blame the Adelaide Crows for not helping him.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
somehow they would help him
yeah.
by dropping him. I know that sounds weird because he needs to go away and just get some confidence back. And playing every single week is not going to happen.
I can assure you, if Tex Walker went back to the State League in South Australia
and dominated, and
then
came back in with that level of I haven't seen Tex Walker walk around with that arrogant strut since 2017.
He always looks like he's questioning himself.
Yeah, he never looks like he's going to kick a big bag.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you've just said.
Sunday, Collingwood take on Gold Coast. It is. It should be noted that these are extended benches,
but it's changed central at the Suns.
It is the game of changes. I've never seen extended benches of either teams this long before.
Huge.
Collingwood bring in Jack Magden, John Noble, Levi Greenwood, Rupert Wills, Taylor Adams, Tyler Brown for a debut, and out goes Isaac Quaynor and Jordan De Goey.
Yes. Ooh. That's bad, considering he was their best player last week in a pretty ugly loss.
Yeah.
All right. Now, draw breath.
Gold Coast.
Tell me about the Gold Coast.
Ben Ainsworth, Caleb Graham, Charlie Bullard, George Holland-Smith, Jack Bowers, Jack Martin, Jez McLennan. There are 2 debutants in that list. And out goes Corey Ellis, Jack Homps, and Jesse Joyce. So there are 3 forced changes there, plus probably a few others.
I tell you what. Ainsworth, Bose, Martin come in. And who were the others? Sorry, there was one more on there that I thought of. No, probably just those 3. You bring those 3 in. I don't hate Gold Coast's chances in this game.
Maybe Holland-Smith.
I don't think they'll perform overly badly because those are 4 pretty good players.
I think they have a sneaky chance on Collingwood, who is seriously out of form.
Yeah, and seriously injured. But I mean, they lose to Goey and Quainer. Quainer's been pretty good in his first few games, not to be underestimated. And then they're probably likely, and obviously to go.
Their forward line. Who in their forward line now kicks their goals?
Oh God, don't ask me that.
Because they're missing Stevenson, they're missing DeGoey,
they're missing Reed. It has to be Cox, but it's not going to be.
Nope.
It's not going to be.
Mind you, this could be a game that he takes on a weak defense.
Yeah, maybe. And he did actually show something in the last quarter of last Friday night's game against Richmond, but it was garbage time.
In saying that as well, Cox is so out of form right now. Every time he jumps at the ball, he's under the ball.
He's getting pushed under every time. And not illegally, just getting worked under.
So I don't understand why he is placing himself in a position to be trying to catch the ball back here.
Yeah.
Why is he not in front of him and letting no defender take out his arm?
Just attacking it.
And even if he then does get pushed under the ball, he's no longer here. It's up here. And the defender is still not touching the ball.
He's in a good enough position that he'll likely earn a free kick.
Exactly.
He'll likely earn a free kick.
He needs to be pushing back a bit more and letting the ball almost drop at his feet.
Yeah.
Because then he can just take a step or two and it's in front.
But he doesn't.
I don't know why no one is telling him to do this or training him to do this.
Who else is in their forward line?
It's a good question. Jamie Elliott's still in.
Yeah. But he's out of form. He's not doing much.
Why everyone in the Collingwood... And the only reason that everyone in the forward line of Collingwood is out of form is because Cox can't bring the ball to ground. Yeah. So how are your smalls going to kick goals when your big power forward can't even touch the ball?
Footy. Yeah, and he got absolutely schooled by that Grimes-Asprey combo last week. So I do think Taylor Adams pretty much comes in and probably just goes to Quainer's place on the halfback.
He's not confirmed to come in.
Yeah, okay, yeah, true. Yeah, he's coming off that injury. If Greenwood can come in, he's also a potential candidate to do some halfback, but replacing the forward line is really tough. I'm going to go with the Pies because I don't trust the Suns on the losing streak on the MCG. I think the Pies
as well, because I did say a few weeks ago I was never tipping the Gold Coast Suns again this year. But I stand by that. But I do think that they have a sneaky chance.
I tell you what, if they win this game, the Pies are in massive trouble.
The Pies are still a chance to miss out in the top 8.
Yeah, they're in huge trouble should they lose this game. So I'm going to go with them, but I'm not convinced. I'm not 100% sold on.
Because I think the Pies have to win 2 games still to be guaranteed finals.
Yeah, I think so. What are they on at the moment? How many wins?
They're a game under Richmond.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, and Richmond are a game. Yeah, so West Coast and Brisbane qualified for finals now, just over the weekend. Richmond have to win this weekend to qualify for finals.
Yeah.
So that means Collingwood need 2 wins to qualify for finals.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Depending on other teams and percentages.
They may just get lucky that the rest of the teams around the 8 don't want to play finals.
It's very interesting what happened last week, okay? So Adelaide drop, and then Hawthorn with a good chance to be able to catch up. Drop. Port Adelaide? No, they also drop. What about North Melbourne? No, okay. No one wants to play finals this year.
The only team that won was the Dogs, and they versed a hapless Freo. And to be honest,
they don't have the percentage.
If it was the other way around, Freo would have been the only team that won. So it was literally going to be one team.
Neither of those teams have the percentage.
Neither of them are actually going to crack in. They're the only ones that were in that bracket.
All of the teams that are genuinely in the fight for the 8, none of them want to be in the top 8.
No.
I actually thought Essendon were going to join that list.
Yeah.
But a minute left in the game and they kick 2 goals.
And the Pies could get totally lucky and be the beneficiary of everyone else's mediocre play.
That's right, yeah.
In which case they'll probably get smashed in the first week of finals.
Yes.
Shall we move on?
Carlton take on West Coast at Marvel Stadium. I want you to go through
to where we have no outs for anyone named
teams,
yet.
Yeah.
Obviously,
but there will be outs.
There probably will be. For Carlton, in comes Fisher, Goddard for Solo, and Lobe. Or Lob, I don't know how to say that.
Whatever.
Who cares? For West Coast, it's they got some good ins. Hearn, Cole, Williams, who's new.
Yes.
Bailey Williams and Hutchings can come back.
Yep.
So 3. Cole won the flag last year, didn't he? So 3 premiership players. It won't play, but,
he'll
they're
be
in the
emergency.
mix.
He'll stay in emergency.
Which speaks to how strong they're getting.
Yeah.
Like Duggan came back last week, did he?
No.
No,
he comes back maybe next week.
Maybe next week. So you get Duggan back potentially in the future, and once he's back, it's really only Nick Nat that's out of the side, isn't it? Because Hearn's back. That defense is really solidified. Hutchings, you think he'll come in and tag?
I don't know.
There's Cripps and there's Walsh. Does he tag one of them?
I think they have Yo go head to head with Cripps, and I think Yo can beat Cripps.
Yeah.
Or at least stop Cripps.
Yeah, Yo's got good enough defensive midfield.
Yo has proven that he can beat Gary Ablett in his prime.
Yeah.
Nat Fyfe. Nat Fyfe has never beaten Yo.
And Yo needs that job to not needs it to be, critical to the team, but he's always critical to the team. But he's sort of at his best when he gets given that job, because not only does he excel, he nullifies their best player.
He just
a little sort of thing. Like he always edges past their best player. Whereas if you just let him do his own thing, he can sort of come in and out a little bit and at his own leisure. But if he knows he's got to beat someone and he's dedicated to beating them, it's a huge boost for them. So just getting around with Cripps.
Yeah, I think I actually think to rest Hutchings for one more week.
Yeah.
Just to make sure he's right.
He's okay. Because he's pretty... I mean, how would you rate him and his importance
Hutchings,
to the team?
Oh, massive. Yeah, massive. But I think in terms of tagging and shutting a player out, Yo, in this instance against Cripps, will do a better job than Hutchings. And Hutchings doesn't have the offensive play to replace Yo in an offensive midfield.
So what do you see the changes being here? I mean, who comes... Is it just Francis Watson for Shannon Hearn? Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, I think so.
And Watson's
that
probably
pains
a bit
me
stiff.
for Watson,
Like,
because
Watson's
I think he's been good, but he's also had some bad decisions and stuff. But they expected that when they brought him in.
Players get it though, man. It's your captain coming back. He's
I
all
know,
class.
and it is actually quite disappointing for me personally to see Watson potentially go out. Tom Cole, the reason I say he won't come in is because if he was to come in, he would be replacing Nelson.
Yeah,
and Nelson doesn't deserve to be dropped.
No, Nelson's playing really good footy.
So I think he keeps his spot. Victor says Cripps is to still come back in. Yes, he is, but I think Cripps only takes Jared Cameron's spot.
Yeah,
and Cameron, I think, hasn't...
He's produced 2 stinkers after his really good 4-goal game.
Yeah. So I think he's got 1, maybe 2 more chances to keep Cripps out of the team. But we'll see on that front.
What are your thoughts on this game as a whole? Like,
I think the only person from Carlton that comes in is Fisher.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
But they may go unchanged.
Yeah.
This game for me... There's a part of me that has danger flags on this game.
Yeah.
Because of Carlton's form. But in saying that, David Teague hasn't had a big loss yet.
Yeah.
And last week, Reece Shaw hadn't had a big loss yet. I think this is the big loss for Carlton.
I don't think... I'm trying to... Now, and I say this not being able to think of who Carlton have versed off the top of my head, but I don't think they've versed a classy, healthy opponent at the caliber of what West Coast is at the moment, which leads me to think that they may be in for a bit of a reality check, which may not be bad for their young group. They can still hang their hats on their recent form. It's been amazing.
This is also a marvel under the roof. West Coast foot skills are going to come into the forefront.
That's true. And when West Coast foot skills are up and about, it's really hard to... Like, if you're hitting Jack Darling and Josh Kennedy on the chest, good luck. And I think those two have schooled Carlton in their fair share of matches, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
West Coast
for mine.
Yeah. Which leads us to the final game of the round. Do you want to take us through Brizzy and the Dogs, mate?
Brisbane take on the Bulldogs up at Gabba. Brisbane are bringing in Ben Keys, Harris Andrews, definitely a lock in.
Yeah.
Lewis Taylor, probably a lock in. And Ryan Bastanak. I think those are the only two players that come in, though.
Yeah.
And the Bulldogs bring in... there are no outs for Brisbane, it should be said. Brisbane bring in Bailey Williams is coming back in. Jordan Sweet for his debut. Probably not, though.
Yeah.
Josh Shackey comes back in. Matthew Suckling is a big in.
Huge.
And Toby McLean probably won't make it in, I think. Out goes Dale Morris.
Yeah, sad.
And there is something about this as well. So, he's done his ACL. That's confirmed. But he still hasn't announced a retirement.
Okay, yeah, no.
So is he going on next year then?
I mean, he's pretty much going to miss most of next year, and by then, how old is Dale?
Well, it was said on 360 that if he was to decide to go on, and the club let him go on, it'd have to be on a 2-year contract.
Oh,
because you wouldn't risk him coming back next year.
Yeah, of course.
It'd be the year after.
In which case, how old?
So he'd be. He's 37 now. 36 or 37.
So
now.
he'd be 39 by the time he's ready.
But
to play
in saying that, he's when he was on the ground before the ACL,
still fine. Yeah,
he was still an elite player.
Still Dale Morris.
So do you back him in and go, look, mate, I've been a stalwart of our club. If you want to go on, you have a spot, but it's up to you. Do you say that to him, or do you pull the plug on him for him?
Well, the Bulldogs are that they are a sentimental team. They're really tight-knit, and they do make those calls where, if you've been a stalwart servant, they'll sort of look after you. But I think you got to pull the plug. I think you've got to just say, hey, we got some young kids coming through. What's the point? Don't wreck yourself for this. You've made your mark. You've got a really good career with us. Did he win the 2016 flag with them? He did, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
You're a premiership player.
Do you maybe put him on as a rookie?
Maybe. I mean, it all depends what Dale Morris wants to do and things like that. But I think as the club, I would...
Because I think the only way that he actually retains a spot on the list is as a rookie.
I think I would move him on.
That way he's not actually taking up a spot on the list.
Yeah. I'd probably move him on if I was the club. They got some massive ins just looking at this week. Suckling to come back in is big.
And Shackey.
Shackey
provides some structure.
Yeah, provides some
needed structure.
If anything, he at least gives them some structure. I actually read something during the week that said Ryan Bastanak was in some really good form. I know it's the NEFL or whatever. But they were saying, if he can remind people of the player that Ryan Bastanak used to be when he first got to Brisbane and they sucked as a team, but he was really good, that'd be a huge boost to them moving forward. I don't see them doing it this late in the season.
No.
When they're already playing as well as they are. So Harris Andrews and Lewis Taylor probably come back in.
And to be fair, I don't think the Bulldogs travel badly.
No.
This is actually a danger game for Brisbane.
Yeah,
they
lost
to the Bulldogs.
The Dogs are in pretty good form.
The Bulldogs beat them in Melbourne.
Yeah.
They could beat them again this week.
Well, I mean, the Dogs midfield can get a hold of Brisbane's, and not many midfields are getting a hold of Brisbane's. And, McRae to me, Jack McRae is in the, he is in the Cripps conversation. He's in the Tim Kelly conversation for mine. I think
not this year.
I think he is that good. He
can be that good, but this year he's had a down compared to last year. He's had a down year this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to me, I think he's around the mark, if not in the conversation already, and he's just not talked about as much because he's at the Western Bulldogs. But also,
I think he's not talked as much because Bontempelli takes the spotlight of that midfield.
Yeah. And recently Josh Dunkley as well. So that may be a good point. But to
be perfectly honest, I kind of think Bontempelli is a bit overrated.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I've kind of always felt that.
I've had this conversation with people before, and
don't get me wrong. He's a good player.
Yeah,
he's a great player. I just don't think he's as good as what most of the
Bulldogs
AFL
fans
media,
just the AFL media think that he is. Yeah. I'm going to go with Brisbane, to be honest. I think danger game, but I'm going with the Lions.
I think the Bulldogs are going to cause an upset here.
Well, see, I keep going against the Lions and saying they're going to get beat, and they just don't get beat.
Well, I never go against the Lions, and that hasn't worked out. That's worked out for me brilliantly. So I'm going to go against them and see if they come up.
Excellent. I hope tradition stays true. So that's the games. That's us done. Our certainties locked in early. We'll know Friday night and early Saturday who's doing challenges. Which of the two, if not both of us.
Yes.
Which leads us back to our questions from the start of the night. Do you want to give me a refresher on what you need from me?
So, I want you, Justin, to tell me how the South Australian clubs are not tanking. Because I think they are, and I need to be convinced otherwise.
I think a lot of it's ladder position, but I want to refer to Port Adelaide specifically. Like, you can't... I'm just baffled at how could you tank if you're in the 8 for Adelaide, that is. But to speak on Port Adelaide specifically, I think like they set the bar too high for themselves. Like, Koshy almost demands a premiership every year, even though it's ridiculous. Like, I don't get that.
To be fair, that
Hinkley
list
is sort of the same.
That list should be a top 4 list.
I think the list is good, but also they're young. Like, they're not experienced, they're super young. Like,
they're
Dersma,
always
Rosie,
young.
like...
They're always, every single year, we say, Port Adelaide, they've been young since 2014.
Yeah.
So why are they still young?
Young, yeah. Well, they reloaded this year.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always an
when
excuse
they were good
that we
in
make
2014, it was like Wingard was young and Boak was still relatively young.
But they just move on their players during their prime age.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't think they're tanking because I don't think, particularly Adelaide, I don't want to buy into the fact that Adelaide's tanking. I just think they're making terrible decisions. Like, I don't think you can actively tank while you're sitting in the top 8. You just can't. Because in the modern climate of the AFL, all you got to do is give yourself a chance. All they got to do is finish 8th, and then maybe they can catch fire late in the year and go on a run, and who knows?
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Because of the terrible decisions they continue to make. Do you think maybe it's not them like tanking per se, but they're actively trying not to climb the ladder because they know they're not going to win the premiership this year? See, that intrigues me, that question. Particularly with Port Adelaide, again, that intrigues me because Port Adelaide really went for the draft last year, which makes me think, hey, if you're going for the draft for 1 year, you don't do that. You don't go hard at the draft for 1 year. You go hard for 2-3 years, collect as much of a wealth of young talent as you can, and you bring them through together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe they sat down halfway through the year and said, hey, we're not going to win the flag here. We can't do it. But I don't understand why they had that conversation because they were playing pretty good footy at the point. Like, they were playing top 4 footy. They were
just playing inconsistent footy last year.
Yeah. Like, I don't...
Like, their back half of the last 2 years for Port Adelaide have mirrored each other.
If one of them is tanking, I'm going to say it's Port Adelaide because Koshy keeps coming out and saying like, oh, I'll fire this guy or I'll move this person. I'll do whatever it takes to get us to the top. And that makes me think he's just masking the fact that they're tanking. Maybe it's just a cover up. I don't know. That's a tough question. It's really tough to give you a valid reason as to how they're not tanking with the blunders they've been making at selection committee and at the front office.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing.
Like, I don't know how to tell you that they're not tanking, except other than I don't believe that they're tanking.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
I think that they are actively not trying to win games.
You genuinely
maybe they're not telling the players to lose games and everything.
Yeah.
But I think that the list selections, and not just the list selections, but the media talk, Koshy and everything, is designed to put a rift so that they're not playing well.
Yeah.
So that they're actively not trying to win games. I cannot explain what they're doing at any other way.
I couldn't think of a worse thing, unless you're the Gold Coast, I couldn't think of a worse thing than to tank in the current climate of the AFL. All you have to do is give yourself a chance. Like, Richmond came from nowhere, the Dogs came from nowhere, West Coast came from nowhere, and now they're all good sides because they gave themselves a chance. Why would anyone want to do it?
It doesn't make sense to me.
You've got me sort of coming around to that concept. I'm not quite ready to believe that they're actively losing games on purpose. But hey, man, it could happen. So on to my question. I need you to tell me why Essendon are not the Bulldogs of 2016 and can't make a deep run in the finals.
Yeah, well, for me, it's pretty easy. The Bulldogs in 2016, they finished in 7th spot, but they finished on 15 wins.
Yeah.
15 wins in any other normal season is a top 4 spot, right? So the Bulldogs, even though they finished 7th, they were a top 4 team. And they played like a top 4 team throughout the home and away season.
Yeah.
Their football was designed around contested possessions and stuff like that. The contested ball, which is what finals footy is designed to be around. High pressure stakes, contested football will win you finals games, right? A lot of people like to say that the Western Bulldogs just hit their straps at the right time of the year in the final series, but they were good. They were genuinely very good during the 2016
Look at the guys who were
season.
in their peak, and you're looking at like Easton Wood, who was in his peak, and like the Bont was probably playing the best that we've ever seen him play and stuff like that. They were genuinely disastrously good.
Essendon are not on the same level as what the Bulldogs were in 2016. You can they will get to a semi-final and they will be knocked out in the semi-final. They do not match up to the top 6 teams in the competition. Top 5 because they would probably beat Collingwood
at the moment,
but they wouldn't beat GWS.
No.
They wouldn't beat Richmond, West Coast, Brisbane, or Geelong.
No,
they don't. They don't.
Geelong's
match up
the only other
5.
one that I would give them a chance against, and you would need to catch Geelong on an off day.
Yeah.
I'm now going to argue that they are ready to make a deep run at finals, which I don't know why I did this to myself.
You never think it through. You genuinely never. You just go, what can I think that's going to be challenging for him? And then go, wait, it's also going to be challenging.
I now have to make
me.
myself look like an absolute idiot barrack for this, but no, I think they can on belief. I think they can just. There's something
any
about
team in the top 8 is a chance.
There's something about what Essendon have strung together. Yeah, I like Essendon's senior heads. Sort of, I don't hate like Zach Merritt's a constant. He's a constant in what he gives you. And so is Dyson Heppel, and so is Zaharakis.
Dyson Heppel is cooked this year.
That's the problem.
His foot injury needs surgery. It needed surgery 4 weeks ago. They're managing him through games. He's basically playing a game, missing a game. He's now to the point where he's going to be playing a game, missing 2, playing a game. They should have sent him into surgery 4 weeks ago because they were never a serious premiership threat this year.
Yeah.
Now he's going to have his preseason interrupted and it's going to affect next year.
Yeah, it's
bad decision
making. Through. I'm going to be super interested to see the outcome of their game with Port Adelaide this week.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be quite telling because if they do lose or even get challenged, it sort of throws what they've been doing into question.
I think they'll still be challenged anyway because Port Adelaide are such an erratic team that their best, Port Adelaide's best is as good as the top 4.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just that they don't play that level of football really ever.
No. When they do, they're really impressive, but then they go through like 4 weeks of just you don't even get close to seeing it. And they might win games, but they don't get close to
4 in a row now too. So they are due a good game.
And Essendon's probably should have lost.
This probably is. This is kind of feeling like that kind of game.
Potentially. Either way, I'm going to be very, very interested to see the outcome of a lot of games this weekend. They're going to be absolute rippers. Particularly the West Coast Carlton one. I'm excited.
I'm just erring on the side of caution on that game.
Yeah.
There is, and it's just because of Carlton's form. But when you just sit down and you think about it, West Coast should probably blitz them.
I think they should. They play well. I said to you before we started the show that I think West Coast will win convincingly. I still think that. Yeah, I can't deny Carlton's form.
Yeah.
I can't deny that they might compete.
I also can't deny that West Coast have at times been quite inconsistent this year.
Yeah, but I also think that might just be them not getting out of second gear. And they've still got the job done in those games.
I think that's been them all year.
Yeah, I haven't seen them get out of second gear.
No.
Yeah.
Except for probably against GWS.
GWS, yeah.
Last week against North America. But even then, last week, I didn't feel like they got much out of second gear last week.
Yeah,
but they thumped them.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting come finals because either they're going to get out of second gear and blitz everyone, or they're going to stay in second gear and probably just regret the fact that they never got motoring in the regular season. Yeah, super interesting. So is that us?
I think that's us. Yeah,
I think that's us. So thanks for joining us, guys. And if you like the stream, please leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to the AFL Access channel for all your upcoming content. We had Ryan put together a very good ladder prediction via the fans during the week.
Over the last 2 weeks, and I've done my own last week as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Next week, because I want to kind of continue this running community stream type thing at the start of the week. Next week, I'm planning on doing something with regards to predicting the Brownlow winner, the Coleman medal. Well, we already know who's going to win.
The Coleman medal is a bit of a blank race, yeah.
Who's going to get second in the Coleman medal?
Yeah, maybe interesting.
The Rising Star is probably a one-horse race as well.
I mean, it is, but it would still be an interesting stream to do given that there are still first year players that are really worthy of a shout out. And in other years, probably would have run
Rosie, Stack, and everything. Any other year, they would definitely be Rising Star.
Absolutely.
Winners. But Sam Walsh
he's already a genuine bona fide AFL star.
I don't understand how an 18-year-old kid can come into the league
and do what he's done.
And the worst club in the competition and play as I would rate him this year as a top 10 midfielder in the competition.
Yeah.
Not in his draft
I wouldn't
class.
shy away from that. Yeah. It's insane what he's been able to do. So, yeah. Still be an interesting stream for maybe some consolation prizes.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who's second?
Yeah. Anyhow, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Be sure to join the Discord and like we just said, leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. For now, this has been your AFL Access.
Bye.